How's it going, everybody? Welcome to today's stick mobility class. I am Coach Ray. Thank you for joining me for today. Hope everybody's having a good day. So we are going to use two sticks for the class. I have a short stick here and also have a long stick behind me. Also have a pad for us to kneel on because we are going to be doing some half kneeling rotation based drills. So I do want to focus a lot on opening up the spine, getting some rotation, extension, and flexion. We are going to be doing some 90-90 based floor drills. So that's why I have the squat rack here, because we are going to need something stable for us to press into, or one end of the stick into, as we go through those drills, focusing on some in-range strengthening there. And we are also going to do this tiny bit of core, just a little bit of core, just to kind of work through getting everything activated and opened up. And then to finish off, we're just going to go through some full body mobilizations as usual. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. So I'm going to step back. And so we're going to first start off with feet and ankles. So I'm going to take a little bit wider than shoulder width stance. And I'm actually going to kind of turn to the side here. And I want both of my feet facing forward. I want to have the stick in line with my center line here. And I want to have both hands stacked. Now I'm going to squat down a little bit, making sure my spine is up tall. Don't flare your rib cage. You want to keep your rib cage down. So keeping my hands at roughly about chest to sternum height with the stick slightly angled in. I'm only using the stick for balance. I'm going to bring both heels off the floor. And then I'm going to slowly bring my heels back down under control all the way flat. You don't want the level of your torso or hips to change. You want to keep them exactly where they're at. Bring those heels up. So as you do that, your knees should be transitioning forward a bit more here. Slowly bring your heels back down. Let's go a few more. Bring those heels up. Excellent. Back down. Nice and slow. Under control. Bring those heels up. Back down. One last time, folks. Bring those heels up. Breathe. Back down. And ease off. Excellent. Now what we're going to do here, we're just going to move straight onto the pelvis. Don't really want to spend too much time on the feet and ankles today. So I'm going to have the stick in line with my center line still. I do want the bottom of the stick to still be pointed in towards me so I can generate tension into the floor. Now I'm going to start with a closer stance, so roughly about hip width, right? Hip to shoulder width, both feet are facing forward. From here, hands are still at the same height. Squat down a bit, not much. And I want to drive that stick into the ground about 20% tension. And I'm going to do a posterior tilt. So I'm going to tuck my pelvis under, squeezing my glutes. My knees should be driving out away from one another. So I'm abducting the hips. And then I'm going to do an anterior tilt. You should feel those lower back tissues tighten. This is going to be important for later on. Posterior tilt. Feel those glutes tighten. Excellent. Anterior tilt. Keep that rib cage down. Don't let it flare up. Posterior tilt. Squeeze those glutes. Abduct those hips. Anterior tilt. Back to center. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to wiggle my feet out wider. So I'm going to shift out to be wider here. Squat down a little bit more. Drive that stick into the floor 20%. Keep it there the entire time. Tuck the pelvis in, squeeze the glutes, drive the knees out away from one another, so a posterior tilt. Now anterior tilt. Keep driving that stick down. Posterior tilt. Anterior tilt. Excellent. Posterior tilt. Anterior tilt. Excellent. Back to center. Ease off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stand a little staggered here. So I'm going to bring my right foot forward. I want my right heel to be lined up with the toes of my left foot. Now from here, keeping a stick still in line with the center line, I'm going to bump my hips up to the right. So I do want to keep a slight pelvic tilt here. Drive the stick down. I'm going to bump my hip up to the right. Should feel that right glute tighten. Then we're going to come back to center. All right, bump the hip up to the right again. Back to center. Bump the hip up to the right. Back to center. One more time. Bump the hip up to the right. Back to center. And ease off. Excellent. Now we're going to switch sides. And let's go ahead and switch hands here. Stick still, so hands are still at the same height. So keep that same alignment. Squat down a bit, drive the stick down, slightly posterior tilt, bump the hip up to the left, back to center. Should feel that left glute firing. Bump the hip up to the left, back to center. Excellent. Bump the hip up to the left, back to center. One more time, bump the hip up to the left, back to center, and ease off. Perfect. Now I'm going to pick up the long sticks. I'm going to place the short stick down, and I'm also going to grab the pad. So now we're going to go to that half kneeling position here. What we're going to do, we're going to start with our right knee down. So left leg is going to be forward. Now for this, you want the stick to be behind our back, or behind our mid back in particular. And what we're going to do here is we're going to focus on rotating the bottom of the stick down in front and focusing on a push and pull. So I'm actually going to turn to the side here so I can get that view first. So from here, stick across the mid back. I want to drive my back foot into the floor lightly, and I want my big toe into the ground, so I'm dorsiflexing my ankle here. Now you should feel some anterior hip tissue tension here. And I'm going to rotate the right end of the stick down in front. So from here, I'm going to rotate the right end of the stick down, place it on the floor. So you do want to lean forward a little bit, get a little bit of a hinge. Now squeeze that glute to drive those hips forward. Now you're going to pull apart. Now try to shorten the stick. Make sure you breathe. Pull the stick apart. Feel the upper back activation. Shorten the stick. Pull apart one more time. And shorten the stick. Compress. Excellent. Ease off. Bring the stick off the floor. Come back up to that starting position. Now we're going to rotate the opposite end of the stick onto the floor, so it's going to require us to come on the inside of that front leg here. So let's go ahead and move and wiggle that foot out a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. Drive that back foot down, squeeze that glute. I'm going to rotate to my right, and I'm going to tilt the left end of the stick down. Now the main objective is to keep this right hip facing forward. So I'm going to pull the stick apart, compress the stick, pull the stick apart, excellent, compress, pull the stick apart, and compress. Ease off, tilt up, rotate back to center. Now we're going to switch sides. So I'm actually going to bring this back a smidge more. Left knee down. We're going to do that same thing. Now we're going to go with a front view here. So stick across the mid back. So drive that back foot down, squeeze that left glute, get that hip into extension. Going to rotate the left end down, be in front and the center line. Pull apart. Compress. Excellent. Pull apart. Compress. Pull apart. And compress. ease off, come back up. Excellent. Now wiggle that right foot out a bit. Do the same thing. Now we're going to rotate the opposite end of the stick down. So rotate to the left, drive that back foot down, squeeze that right glute, place the left end of the stick down. From here, pull apart, compress. Excellent, pull apart, compress. One more time, pull apart, and compress, ease off, back up to level, back to center, and relax. Now what we're going to do here, I'm going to take the bottom of the stick and I'm going to place it in line with the toes of my front foot here. So I'm still have my right leg forward and my left knee down. What I want to do is I want to reach up as high as I can, and I'm going to take my left hand, place it across onto the stick. Now it's going to be important to make sure we're driving that back leg down, squeezing that left glute. Now we're specifically going to work on active rotation here. So going at my right hand up, left hand on a stick here, and I'm going to rotate towards my right. You want to try to keep that right knee in line with the mid toe. Come back up. Let's go again. Rotate to the right. Breathe. Back up. One more time. Rotate to the right. Excellent. Back up. Ease off. Now we're going to switch sides. So it should feel like a light rotation. You're not really trying to force it, but you're trying to actively rotate as much as you can. So back foot down, dorsiflex that ankle, driving that big toe into the ground. Bottom of the stick is in line with the toes of the front foot. Left hand grabbing up as high as you can, right hand on the stick. You're going to rotate to your right. Back up. Excellent. Two more. Rotate to your left. Sorry. Breathe. Back up. One more time. Rotate to your left. Excellent. Back up. And relax and ease off. Now we're going to focus on extension. So I'm just going to move the pad to the side. We don't need it at this point anymore. And so I'm going to use the squat rack. This is just acting as a corner of a wall, or again, something for us to stay able to press into. Now I do want the stick to be angled in, the top of the stick to be angled towards me. I want to stand far enough away to where the end of the stick is actually resting on my chest here. So I'm going to have both hands on the stick. What I'm going to do from this position, feet at roughly about shoulder width, toes are pointed forward. I'm going to drive my hips back, and then I'm going to reach forward with my hands here. Excellent. Come back up. I'm going to bring my hands down a little bit more so I can get a little bit more range here. I'm going to drive my hands forward, hips back. Feel that T-spine open up. Back up. Excellent. Let's go one more. Drive those hips back. Reach forward with the hands. Excellent. Back up. And relax. Okay, one last thing. Let's work on those shoulders a little bit. So I'm going to pick up the other stick. So the good thing about this is if you have one long stick, one short stick, you can still do this drill. So I'm going to have a hip to shoulder width stance. What I want to do is I want to focus on activating the upper back as much as I can here. So we're going to get into an extension drill and then lift the sticks off individually. Now the bottoms of the sticks are roughly about a foot in front of the line of my toes here. What I want to do is I want to have my hands roughly about chest or shoulder height, somewhere around there. So from here, I'm going to drive my hips back, get into that extension. Right. Now from here, I want to lift one stick at a time. So I'm going to drive that left stick down, and I'm going to lift the right stick off the floor, hover it, place it back down, drive that right stick into the floor, hover the left, place it back down, drive that left stick into the floor, hover the right. You don't want the position of the spine to change. Place the right stick down, drive it into the floor, lift the left, place it back down, come back up, and ease off. I'm going to turn forward. We're going to change the angle of the sticks now. So feet set up the same, sticks are set up the same. Now we're going to bring the sticks out into a Y shape. So it's going to kind of work a little bit differently there on the upper back. So from here, I'm going to do the same thing. Hinge. Try to keep the stick at the angle that it's at. Drive that left stick down, lift the right. Place it back down. Drive the right stick down, lift the left. Place it down. Drive the left stick down, lift the right. Place it down. Drive the right stick down, lift the left, back down, come back up, and relax. Perfect. All right. Now we're going to get into the floor-based drills, the 90-90s I was talking about earlier. So this is where you need a corner of the wall, something stable to press into. So I'm actually going to use the short stick for this one. So I'm going to place the long stick down. And I'm going to start with my left leg forward. So let's actually warm up in that 90-90 position. So I'm going to place the stick down. I want to get my left hip forward, right hip back. All right, so if you can, get to 90-90. If you need to, you can always go to a shin box by closing the angle of the knee here, and the front knee and the back knee. So if you can, get to here. All right, so what I want to do with this left hand, I want to prop myself upright, and then I'm going to pick the stick up with my right, and I'm just going to generate a little bit of tension here. Now, this is just to warm up the hips. So if you start to cramp, don't be afraid to come out of it. So from here, I'm going to have my right hand straight out, roughly about shoulder height. Bottom of the stick is angled in to be in line with the knee of my right leg. I want to drive myself with my left hand, push both knees down, and then drive the stick into the floor, about 30% tension. Ease off. Excellent. We're going to do that 2 more times. Prop yourself up, drive the stick into the floor and both knees, push. 3, 2, 1. Ease off. 1 more time. Go to activate, push yourself up, both knees, stick into the floor. 3, 2, 1, ease off. All right, let's go ahead and switch over to the other side just so we can get both warmed up. So I'm gonna have that right hip forward, left hip back. We're gonna do that same thing. All right, make sure you prop yourself up with your right hand. Bottom of the stick is angled in. So from here, drive both knees and the stick into the floor, 30%. 3, 2, 1, ease off. Excellent, we're gonna go 2 more. Drop both knees and the stick into the floor, push, 30%. We're just trying to get some light activation here. And ease off. Let's go one more time. Drive both legs into the floor, then the stick, push. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Excellent. So now I'm going to switch hips again. I'm going to be facing this way. And I want that left hip forward, that right hip back. Now the bottom of the stick is going to be pushing into the corner here. Now what I want to focus on is we're first going to focus on using the stick as a way to generate tension into the lateral tissues and then hinge. And then from there, we're also going to use the stick as a way to get some rotation here and focus on mobilizing and opening this hip up while we're in that position here. All right. So I'm going to have both hands on the stick. It's going to be at an angle. That's totally fine. And so from here, I want to drive both legs down about 50% tension. And I want to push the stick into the wall about 50%. And I'm going to hinge forward, driving the stick forward. Hold, drive both knees down. Keep that tension. In 3, 2, 1. Push yourself back up off that front leg and ease off. We're going to go 2 more here. Both arms out, drive both knees down. Let's go 70%. Drive that stick into the wall, hinge forward. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Push up off that front leg and relax. Excellent. Let's go one more time. 70%. Drive those knees down, push the stick into the wall, hinge. 3, 2, 1. Drive up off that front leg, ease off. Now I'm going to take my left hand, place it towards the end, so both hands are on the stick now. And what I want to do is I just want to focus on getting some rotation in here so I can loosen up the spine a bit, then we can work on the hips. So I'm going to let go with my right hand, or outside hand at this point, drive that stick back into the corner, and I want to open up and rotate back as far as I can go. Excellent. I'm going to come back forward, open up and rotate again, drive that stick into the wall, keep pressing both knees into the floor. Excellent. Back forward. Let's go one more time. Drive that stick in. Open up. Back forward. And ease off. Let's take a second here. Now we're going to get into opening up this right hip. So I'm internally rotating on this right hip here. So we're going to externally rotate, try to open that hip up. So let's get into it. I'm going to place my left hand on the end of the stick here. So I'm already getting some rotation. Drive that stick back. Open up to the right. I want my torso or my chest to face this right hip as much as I possibly can. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this knee off the floor, driving that foot into the ground. So drive that left leg down, left hip down. Open up. 3, 2, 1. Back down. Rotate back. Take a second. All right, drive that stick back. Open up to the right. Try to get that chest to this knee. Drive that foot into the floor. Open up. 3, 2, 1. Back down. Rotate back. Let's go one more time here, folks. Drive that stick back. Open up. Drive that foot down. Open that hip up. 3, 2, 1. Back down. Back forward and ease off. Let's take a second here. We're going to get out of this and we're going to switch sides. Shake your hips out. All right, now we're going to switch over into having that right hip forward, left hip back. So we're going to do that same thing that we did On the other side, I'm going to scoot back a bit, make sure my position is right. Get more here. All right. From here, same thing. Drive both knees down, 50%. Drive the stick into the wall, hinge. 3, 2, 1. Push off that front leg and ease off. Excellent. We're going to go 2 more. 70% this time. Drive both knees down. Drive the stick into the wall. Hinge. 3, 2, 1. Push off that front hip and ease off. Let's go one more time here, folks. Doing good. Arms straight. Drive both knees down. Drive stick into the wall. Hinge. 3, 2, 1. Push off that front leg and ease off. Now we're going to focus on that rotation, rotating towards that back hip. So I'm going to have hands here, take my left hand off or outside hand, drive the stick into the wall, open up, rotate to my left, driving both knees down, back forward. Excellent. Let's go again. Drive that stick into the wall, open up and rotate. 3, 2, 1. Back forward. One more time. Drive that stick into the wall, open up and rotate. Back forward. Ease off for a second. All right, now we're going to do the same thing, opening up that hip, right? So remember to make sure you keep that front hip driving into the floor the entire time. You need that tension here. So I'm going to place my right hand on the end of the stick, open up and rotate, push that hand into the wall, drive that back foot into the floor, open up that hip. 3, 2, 1. Back down. Excellent. Ease off. Take a second. Let's go 2 more. Right hand on the stick. Drive into the wall. Open up and rotate. Drive that back foot into the floor. Open up that hip. 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Excellent. Let's go 1 more here. Open up and rotate. Drive that back foot. Make sure you're driving that right leg into the floor. Open that hip up. 3, 2, 1. Back down and ease off. Excellent. Now we're going to get into the Superman drill that I was talking about. So we are going to need to be face down for this one. And I'm hoping you can hear me here. So I'm going to have I want my body to be fully extended. Now, as we go into this, we want to feel that entire backside or entire back line contract. Get everything into extension. So the stick is also going to be a catalyst for us to add more tension into the upper back here. So now I'm going to have my hand as wide as whatever's comfortable. I would say wider than shoulder width. So from here, arms straight, I want to pull that stick apart. Now pull the stick apart about 30 to 40% tension. I want to squeeze my glutes. Now from here, I want to bring my hands up. And then I want to bring my legs up. And I want to try to shorten my back line. Get as much extension as you can. Then slowly come back down and ease off. All right? It's wonderful. So we're going to go a couple more repetitions here. Let's go ahead and move those hands in a little closer. Make it a little bit more of a challenge. So pull the stick apart. Squeeze those glutes. Over the stick off the floor. Bring the feet off the floor. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Back down. Ease off. We're going to go one more here, folks. So this is a hard one. So again, it's just getting as much extension as you can. Arm straight. Pull the stick apart. Squeeze those glutes. Bring the stick off the floor. Extend. 3, 2, 1. Back down. And ease off. Good. So from that one, you should be feeling the glutes, the erectors, that entire backside kind of line up here. Line up. So we're going to turn over. Now we're going to do a little bit of core. So I'm going to take my short stick again. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do a rolling drill. So we're not going to create too much tension here, but we just want to focus on control. So I'm going to have my hands wide on the stick, much wider than shoulder width. I want to have my knees to 90 degrees. So it's kind of like a dead bug here. So I want to compress only about 30%, not compressing a lot. So I'm pushing down with the hands, driving up with the knees. And I'm going to roll to my left, nice and slow. If you can, touch the end of the stick to the ground and then roll back. Excellent. Roll to the right, nice and slow, under control. Touch the end of the stick to the floor. Roll back. Excellent. Let's go 2 more each way. Slowly roll to the left, under control. Touch. Rotate back. Roll to the right. Touch. Roll back. Let's go 1 more each way. Roll to the left. Touch. Roll back. Roll to the right. Nice and slow. Touch. And then roll back. And ease off. Excellent. Good way to get the core involved there. All right, now we're going to shift over into getting our stretching in. So here we're going to stretch out the adductor line. So we're going to get into the guitar hero a little bit. We're also going to get into a little bit of ninja flow. And I do also want to do a little bit of shoulder. So we're also going to get into some kayaking. So I'm going to place the short stick down. I'm going to pick up the long stick. And I'm going to use the pad now from here. If I'm at my right knee down, left foot out. So remember, the main thing with this is you want to keep those hips in extension, so you need to squeeze that glute to drive those hips forward, and you want to keep it there the entire time. You don't want to find that you're hinging to get into this. That takes away from the stretch a bit. So bottom of the stick is going to be angled out wherever tends to be most favorable for you. And I want to have my left hand at the end of the stick here. Right hand about belly button, about right in front of my belly button here. Now my back foot, I want to drive that top of my back foot into the floor, so I'm extending or plantar flexing that ankle. And I'm going to slowly sink in to that left hip. And from here, I'm going to drive that right hand down towards the floor and reflexively pull up with the left. So we're creating a bow with the stick, keeping those hips in extension and driving that left knee out. I'm going to slowly come back up and ease off. Now I'm going to do it again. We're going to rotate the stick so it's not all bowing in one direction. So from here, sink into that left hip. Drive that right hand down towards the floor, pull up with the left. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Slowly come back up. Excellent. Let's go one more time. I'm going to rotate the stick. Sink into that left hip. Drive that right hand down. You should be feeling that short adductor open up here. Excellent. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and ease off. Excellent. Let's switch sides. From here, same thing. Try to get that alignment the same. Drive that back foot down, squeeze that glute to bring those hips forward into extension. Sink into that right hip. Drive that left hand down towards the floor, reflexively pull up with the right. 3, 2, 1. Slowly ease off. Excellent. Rotate the stick a bit. Same thing. Slowly sink into that right hip. Push down with that left hand, pull up with the right. Doing good. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Excellent. Rotate the stick one more time. Drive that back foot down, squeeze those glutes, hips forward. Drive that left hand down towards the floor. Reflexively pull up with the right. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and ease off. Excellent. Now we're going to stand. We're going to move the paddle to the side. So I actually don't need it anymore at this point. Now we're going to get into the ninja flow. All right. So I'm going to step forward here. So I want to be a little closer to the camera. So I want to have the stick on the inside of my right foot here. Hand is going to be roughly about face level. Now it's going to depend on you. You can always have it a little higher, a little lower. It's going to depend on your mobility. Typically, if you have it higher, you can get a little bit more rotation. So I'll start off with about face level here. For me, I have my toes pointed out. What I want to do from here, slightly drive that stick into the floor just to create some tension in those lateral tissues. From here, I'm going to hinge back. And I want the stick to come directly to my side or in alignment with my rib cage. So this is the first step here. Want to get a hang, get a little bit of stretch in the pec, shoulder. Now I'm going to take my left hand, reach across, thumb facing down towards the floor. Now I'm going to pull the stick apart, and I'm going to lunge to my left, pushing off that right leg. Excellent. Come back up to center, and I'm going to do it again. Lunge to my left. Back to center. Let's go one more time. Lunge to your left. Keep pulling that stick apart. 3, 2, 1. Back to center. Let go with that left hand. Stand back up. Excellent. Ease off. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So I'm going to place the same. We're going to drive that stick down lightly. Drive those hips back. So remember, the stick comes out to the side. You want to keep it in line with the rib cage. You don't want to find that your arm is above your head. Reach across, thumb facing down towards the floor. Pull stick apart, lunge to your right. Back to center. Excellent. Lunge to the right again. Breathe. Back up. Excellent. One more time. Keep pulling apart. Don't lose that tension. 3, 2, 1. Back up to center. let go with the right hand, slowly come up. Excellent. Now wiggle those feet back in. Good. Now we're going to finish off with getting into the shoulders here. So we're going to do a little bit of a series of different things. I'm going to take my short stick here. Now I'm going to stand back a little bit because I don't want to hit anything. So make sure you got a good amount of clear headspace here. So I'm going to take the stick and I'm going to take it out pretty wide here. I'm not going to go as wide as I can. I just want to go out relatively wide. And again, this is always going to depend on how mobile you currently are. So I'm going to have my feet both at hip width, toes are pointing forward. What I want to do from here is I want to pull the stick apart, about 20% tension, nothing too significant, just trying to get that upper back activation. I'm going to slowly bring the stick up overhead. Excellent. Now with my left arm, I'm going to pull more with my left arm, keeping my right arm straight. Excellent. Then I'm going to come back over to the center, and now I'm going to pull more with my right arm, keeping my left arm straight. I want to have that bicep by my ear. Back to center. Come down nice and slow. Compress on the stick, 20%. And now I'm going to ease off. All right. So feet are still lined up the same. Get your hands in the same position. Squeeze the glutes a bit, pull the stick apart. Bring the stick up overhead, nice and slow. Now the main thing is we don't want to flex at the lower back. You want to keep everything neutral. I'm going to pull with my left arm, keep my right arm straight. Want that bicep close to my ear if I can. Excellent. Pull more with the right arm. Back to center. Excellent. Come down, nice and slow, and compress on that stick here. Perfect. We're going to do that again. This time we're going to add in something a little bit different. We're going to add in something like a dislocate. So let's go ahead and actually wiggle our hands out a little bit wider. So both arms straight, pull the stick apart, bring the stick up overhead, make sure those glutes are nice and tight. So pull more with the left hand, right arm comes straight up and over. Let's go ahead and pull the right arm back. Excellent. Left arm comes up. Keep pulling with that right arm. You want that left arm straight. Then back to center. Let's go opposite way. Pull with the right arm. Left arm nice and straight. Get into that dislocate. Right arm comes up. Keep pulling with that left. Back to center. Come down. Compress 20%. And ease off. Perfect. And that, my friends, concludes today's stick mobility class. Thank you again, everybody, for joining me. I hope everybody had a good class. And I will be sure to catch everybody on the next one. Have a wonderful day.